Yeah, so it's been a rough week, obviously. Everybody's been beat down pretty bad on this heat, understandably. I just want to talk a little bit before we go through the photos about messages that we need to really get out there when we're landing product during this type of heat. It's a real good idea to have the conversation. A lot of this product, especially if we're shipping plants that are larger sizes, because people want stuff spec'd at a larger size, they really have to be right on the money with water and lots of it when it comes off the truck. So I think most people understand that, but you guys know your customers. If you got somebody out there you're not really sure about, first time or just new this spring, or maybe you've had a few VOTSIs or issues, keep bringing that up. Literally, if it's on the truck for a day, then you take it out in 90-degree heat. You just have an hour or two to rehydrate that thing because that's how fast that container will dry out. So just make sure we're talking about that. We want to avoid any credits, or really we want them to be extremely successful with the plants that we send them. So anyways, we'll jump right into it. Little Missy, Cheryl was just able to put quite a few of these on. You can see there we got a real nice full plant. Little Missy's claim to fame is it's pretty compact. It's got a nice small lobe leaf, a little bit darker foliage, excellent resistance to boxwood blight and other diseases like Volutilla. Very adaptable. We run it through the PTW program, but its hardiness is good. It's a solid zone 5 for hardiness. We think it's going to be one of the boxwoods that's going to continue to move up. We continue to see strong sales on it. We're upping our production on it. So we got a lot more coming down the pipeline. I know we got a little thin this spring on them, but we're chasing that one down. Great plant. I see a real good future for more of these for sales. So we got them available. Talk them up. Get some more of them out there, because we are literally going from like 2,000 or 3,000 in production to almost 10,000 in production. So, but it looks like we got history trends to support that. So that's a good deal. All right, Daravilla. This is pretty much the only Daravilla we got going right now. The oranges, the blacks. We got a ways to go. We're probably another month out on those, but we have Firefly Night Glow. This is in the Bloom and Easy program. Probably not a lot of people know about it, but it's a great grower. It has dark, not as much as the black, but it has darker foliage. Good grower, highly adaptable. They really did some nice breeding with this. Excellent hardiness. This is coming out of Canadian breeding, so that was very important. Really good. It does have a pretty good flower, which will be starting here. You can see there are a few flowers in there, but it has a nice little yellow flower, gives a neat little contrast. It only lasts about a week, but pretty cool plant. And we have just a couple hundred of them available. I normally wouldn't promote something with just that few, but that's just where we are. It's really the only Daravilla I can offer you for a little bit. I think we do have Cool Splash. Yeah, there's only about 100 of those. That's a different animal. That's a variegated one, but yeah, it's a little thin. They're really turning on for popularity. We know that. We increased our numbers. We bought extra liners in so we can get build up numbers for fall and spring here. So. Grass, we'll go into a couple of grass. So you got heavy metal here, really turning on. You can see they're nice and full. You can see actually there's a bloom spike coming up. Heavy metal is one of the first ones to really start throwing up bloom spikes. It's a very tough grass. It's a native. It'll get kind of almost a purplish plume, very open plume, very airy plume. They do say that these are deer resistant, so that could go for something, but A very tough grass, adaptable grass. You just can't go wrong with this one. And then you get kind of the bluish foliage, a little bit of blue-green foliage on it too. So doesn't get particularly too high. It's about a mid-range grass. So, and we have about 450 of those on. So looking great. Little zebra. So finally, we're starting to get into some of the banded type grasses. Cheryl's looking at them almost every day to roll them on. We've been out of the banded grasses for a while. You can see here, we're just past the can. The roots are good, no issues with roots. Don't oversell the size on them. She was only able to throw about 250 on. Hopefully this will help some people. They've been, all of them, the zebras, little zebras, all that have been very short on the market. I would think for sure within the next 2 weeks, we should be in business on all grasses. I don't think we'll be missing anything in 2 weeks, but we just got to get through another week here. So we're ready to go. But yeah, check this one out. We got 250, good to go. So we're going to keep showing you hydrangeas. Some of them you've seen before. We're going to keep showing you over and over again. Cheryl just took these photos yesterday. So you can see Bobo here, how it's progressed. I mean, that whole crop looks like that she's shipping. So you're going to land this thing just packed with flowers. You can see we haven't reached peak bloom yet. We're still at least another week, a week and a half away from peak. And then those flowers will last a long time. So we also trimmed some crops back. They'll be ready in about 4 weeks with fresh flowers. So that will get us into some more fresh stuff in about 4 weeks. So we have some split trims going on all the hydrangeas. That helps keeping really nice stuff. We got 1,500 of these sitting out there just ready to go. This is a load starter. This is a must to talk about. Showing this photo, they're not going to be disappointed. So go into the confetti. You can see here confetti starting to bloom, a little bit different animal. Has a little more of a cone shape, a tall bloom. But what's cool about it is it's a little more compact, and as this bloom pushes out, it presents its flower very well. That's why we picked it quite a few years ago. It's in the PTW program. So what I mean by presenting is it pushes ahead of the foliage. So some of the varieties the flower will be mixed into some of the foliage, but this one here just explodes over the top as it progresses here. And, you can just see just total flower from a long distance away. So great plant. We got 700 of them there. We also have a split trim on them, so we'll have some ready with fresh flowers. But this one here is probably almost 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks away from its peak bloom, but it will keep progressing and keep opening up. Different hydrangea. This is Limetta coming up here. So this is an arborescence type. This is a dwarf compact plant. You can see there it gets that mop head kind of flower on it. We're approaching peak. It's coming to the peak pretty soon here, but we got 300 of them that look really nice. She'll be able to put some more on here in another week or so. I just wanted to mention on the arborescens, the hydrangea A's in general, people have to treat these differently than they do paniculatas or macrophyllus. So like the endless summers or the limelights or any of those take huge amounts of water now to keep them good. Arborescence is very easy to overwater them and rot the crown. So I know a lot of people tend to treat hydrangeas all the same, which is fine in early spring. But if people are carrying these for much more than a week, they really have to keep them separate and treat them separately. And I would even recommend maybe just a little bit of shade on them, but that makes it even easier to overwater. So you have to be careful. They are considered a little more of an understory plant. They do well in full sun, but when they're in a container, they need their root systems a little cooler. Once you plant them in the ground, it's a different story, but they tend not to like their roots really, really hot. So they'll do better with just a little bit of shade and really watch that water closely. So pass that on. And that goes for all of them, you know, the Incredible and Annabelle and all those. This time of year is a little tricky. So pass that on. Quick fire. So you can see there, we're starting to get some of the flowers. So quick fire will start white, greenish white, and then turn into the different colors of red as it progresses. I mean, you got a long time on this flower, lots of interest. It's every week it's going to be changing. The colors will be changing as it goes along. I mean, this thing is going to go through a bloom cycle in its bloom for almost 8 weeks. So you're going to have 8 weeks of just the flower just staying on there, constantly changing, progressing to the darker colors. So that's what's really great about quick fire. And then you got that real dark foliage as a background as well. So this plant here has a lot of interest, really neat. You can see there, we're starting with the flowers. Just the big thing is if anybody's new to them, you know, they start out white and then they change. All right. So juniper, I want to show you blue points. We haven't had 3 gallon for a while. Cheryl was able to put just a couple hundred, and then she'll put more on as we go. You can see there, we're just at 24 inches. That's our minimum spec. So if anybody out there needs something smaller, we have larger sizes available right now. Do we have a 7?
We don't yet.
Not yet?
No, I'll give about 2 weeks.
Okay, so a couple weeks from the 7. We're getting close, but there's some 3 gallons here you can start working on. Ramnus fine line. So we've had a lot of requests for this. This is, you know, continues to be a fairly popular plant. This one here, we've been waiting on roots. We finally got enough roots. We felt comfortable. We had some over there that were a little bit bigger. So we went with 250. Hopefully, I think this is a crop of 2,000. So hopefully we'll be able to get some more on here soon. But this is a 7 gallon. You can see there it's in the socket. Our spec is 36. We're over the spec. We were just waiting on the roots. So we're good to go there. Jeff's getting down there on 3s, I know. I'm not sure how much available he has, but, you know, and I know a lot of people have been waiting for these 7s, so hopefully you can move into those. Double plate gold is next. So see there, new crop just coming out, nice fresh gold foliage, new flowers forming. Seen a lot of spirea out there sitting on lots that are looking a little old. Some of them are the standard varieties. You know, we go through trim programs here to keep freshening them up and keep bringing new color, new foliage, freshen that foliage up. So these would be a great thing to talk about. We just have a few of them there. Go ahead and show Little Princess next. Yeah, you can see there, Little Princess is pushing out fresh buds. It's coming through. Yeah, the sunlight kind of, yeah, they're darker green than that, but that was early this morning when she took it. But they're looking really nice, and all the varieties we've been doing split trims on. So you're going to have really nice, fresh foliage popping, good looking plants. Mr. Bowling Ball and Fire Chief are next. We wanted to show you these 15s again. We don't have a lot of them, but we got 119 of them. Now would be the time to really push these. These are 15 gallons. Look at that ruler down there. They're over 24 inches. They're just instant plants. They're perfect. You know, if somebody had some damage to one and needs a replacement, that would be great. Or if somebody has a higher end job where they need instant effect, they'd be fantastic. They went through a trim early spring, so they're nice and tight and full. Go ahead and go to the Fire Chief. You'll see the same thing. That's in the same block. They're together at the Daw Road Farms. There's 118. one of the main reasons we have these is for cutting stock blocks. So this last fall, we got enough cuttings out of there. We got another block coming on. We were able to even these up with a trim this spring and have them. So this would be something to, if you're looking to excite a re-wholesaler, grab this photo, flip it to them. You're not going to disappoint on it. They're all cookie cutter, all 118 of them. They're sitting there. So see if you can get your foot in the door with somebody with this one. By Burnham Blue Muffin, this is also a 15-gallon. Just look at the size of that plant there. It's over 48 inches. This is in the same area. They're coming from a cutting stock block that we're able to let go. These are going to be loaded with berries. They had a heavy bloom, and they're just going to be packed full of those blue berries. But we only have 64 there again. But hey, 5 of them might get you into a re-wholesaler. Might get somebody excited. See what you can do to use that to your advantage. And last but not least is spilled wine. So you can see there, we were able to bring some more in. This will probably be the last time I'll bring spilled wine in. Our crops should be ready in another week or so. We're very close. But you can see here, nice size, brought them locally. And we have 1,000 of them. So I had some in, we had 300 in last week or the week before. We moved through those. Those were a little bigger. Those were kind of left over from spring. They were okay. There was nothing wrong. But these are newer crop, fresh. You can see there, just filling the can, no issues. So I know there's still a lot of demand for the spilled wine right now. Make sure you're also taking a look at wine and rose. We got plenty of those looking real good. And then also tuxedo looks great out there. Other varieties we're still a ways out, probably another 4 weeks. It's going to be more of an August type event for the other white Giulia. So, all right. We've showed you the boxwood before, the Freedom. Which is the brand new boxwood that's boxwood blight resistant, excellent grower. It resists some of the other diseases as well. And you can see there from the photo, it's just an excellent plant. What we decided to do was, they were a bit pricey. They were up there a little bit. So talked with Danny. Danny's got them on a special. It's a limited time and brings that price down quite a bit. That hopefully gets you more in range where it opens up possibilities to other people. We'd really like to get several of these out there to really start building interest on that plant. So we felt that maybe it was time to drop the price a little bit. We got 5,000 of them that are ready to go. You can see there, that's what we're pulling. The crop is just consistent and even. These boxwood I'm finding are way superior to what's out there right now. Between the Freedom and Independence, you're not going to get any of that yellow margining that a lot of times Velvet and some of the others get. They have completely bred that out. Hardiness seems to be very good. Just all in all, I've been very impressed with it. And then, obviously you get the big bonus of the boxwood blight resistance, and so far it looks like that's excellent. So the big selling point with Crimson Cutie is it is certified sterile. So there are several states you can go into. Just to clarify, the proven winners, they list as sterile, but they're not certified to go into certain states. The proven winners are very nice plants as well. But this one here is, everything is all about being sterile. It's got great color, great shape. So it's really considered a non-invasive. So that's the target audience we really need to hit. So just want to bring that up again. Next is Catinus. So Royal Purple. Sorry, I put the stick in there and it kind of push the blooms down a little bit, but you can see there, they're just loaded with blooms, and they really struck me as I was driving around looking at the crops. There's not a lot of these. There's like 170 of them or so in a 7-gallon, but they're just perfect right now. And don't forget about Velveteeny. We also have Velveteeny out there. They're loaded with that plume. Now is the time to strike with this thing. It'll be looking good for several weeks here, but maybe we could lead out with that. Next is just added back onto inventory. The strong box, I was able to put 500 of these on. You can see here, we're looking good. You know, the rest of the crop is pushing on, but we felt we could pull at least 500 of this quality. I know there's been demand out there for it, and we haven't been able to fulfill it, but they're ready now. Wanted to show you that, get that info out. Strong box is the one we went with. Proven Winners does Strong Box and Gem Box. Strong Box we felt was a little better grower, a little more compact shape, and also what we noticed was it's just a little bit hardier. So that's why we really chose Strong Box over Gem Box. So you should be able to do well in some of our northern climates. You still have to be careful with Glabers. They can get some windburn and desiccation in the winter, but this one seems to resist that very well. So, next, we got a grass. So Cheyenne Sky, we've been out of this one for a while. You can see here, we're starting to turn on this one as well. I was able to add 500. You can see there, we're starting to get the coloration in it. We're looking good. The roots look real good on them. So we're back in business on the Cheyenne Sky. I would think that we would be able to add more possibly the end of next week. I'm pretty sure we would, but for right now, we had to go with 500. So I'm not too worried about allocating them or anything. I think the rest of the crop I just need to give it another week and we'll be able to add more. So Cheyenne Skies is a High Plains type of grass from the breeding, very hardy. It keeps pretty much a lower habit. It gets more coloration in the foliage. It gets more purples as the year goes on. A very open plume, very kind of seedy looking plume. It's more grown for the foliage and its adaptability, and it has a nice compact shape to it. So great grass, and I'm glad we're back into it. Next is 7-gallon burning bush. So you can see here just the excellent size. Kind of took that photo when it was sitting in the ground. It's a 7-gallon. But what we decided to do was also on this one, we wanted to run a special for you. We really want to get some of these moving. We have several thousand of them available. You guys did an excellent job moving the 3s. Next is just a photo of the daylilies. This is yesterday from the pole. Guys were taking lunch, and I just took a picture of the wagon there. You can just see the excellent color we have on them. Right now we have Great Magic, Happy Returns, and Stellas. I do expect the other ones like Rosies and Purple Deora to be ready by the end of next week. You can see here confetti starting to bloom, a little bit different animal. Has a little more of a cone shape, you know, a tall bloom. But what's cool about it is it's a little more compact, and as this bloom pushes out, it presents its flower very well. That's why we picked it quite a few years ago. It's in the PTW program. So what I mean by presenting is it pushes ahead of the foliage. So some of the varieties the flower will be mixed into some of the foliage, but this one here just explodes over the top as it progresses here. And, you know, you can just see just total flower from a long distance away. We wanted to show you these 15s again. We don't have a lot of them, but we got 119 of them. Now would be the time to really push these. These are 15 gallons. Look at that ruler down there. They're over 24 inches. They're just instant plants. They're perfect. you know, if somebody had some damage to one and needs a replacement, that would be great. Or if somebody has a higher end job where they need instant effect, they'd be fantastic. They went through a trim early spring, so they're nice and tight and full. Go ahead and go to the fire chief. You'll see the same thing. That's in the same block. They're together at the Daw Road Farms. There's 118. One of the main reasons we have these is for cutting stock blocks. So this last fall, we got enough cuttings out of there. We got another block coming on. We were able to even these up with a trim this spring and have them. So Viburnum Blue Muffin, this is also a 15-gallon. Just look at the size of that plant there. It's over 48 inches. This is in the same area. They're coming from a cutting stock block that we're able to let go. These are going to be loaded with berries. They had a heavy bloom, and they're just going to be packed full of those blue berries. But we only have 64 there again. But you know, hey, 5 of them might get you into a re-wholesaler, might get somebody excited. See what you can do to use that to your advantage. And last but not least is spilled wine. So you can see there, we were able to bring some more in. This will probably be the last time I'll bring spilled wine in. Our crops should be ready in another week or so. We're very close. But you can see here, nice size, brought them locally. And we have 1,000 of them. So I had some in, we had 300 in last week or the week before. We moved through those. Those were a little bigger. Those were kind of left over from spring. They were okay. There was nothing wrong. But these are newer crop, fresh. You can see there, just filling the can, no issues. So I know there's still a lot of demand for the spilled wine right now. Make sure you're also taking a look at wine and rose. We got plenty of those looking real good. And then also tuxedo looks great out there. Other varieties we're still a ways out, probably another 4 weeks. It's going to be more of an August type event for the other white Gilia.